What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is August 18th, 2025, and the market is very much still open, although it's still not doing much of anything. Today was not the easiest days to trade. We had no catalysts. In the morning, the majority of the market was down a bit, but at open, we popped up, went through our call line, which we'll discuss here in just a minute. Not a great day. Not a great day as far as trusting the chart and, being aggressive and all of those things. I myself took 2 trades today, which almost cost me dearly. And again, we'll go over that and all the things. But before we get into all that, please consider buying the book. It's right here. You can find the link for it in the Amazon store down below in every single one of my videos. And if you're interested in learning how to trade similarly to the way that we do, which is basically understanding price action and then using support and resistance to your advantage, well, that's what we do all day long in our Discord community. The link for that is also down below. And if for whatever reason that link does not work, all it is discord.gg/trading decoded. All one word, all lowercase, and that'll bring you right in. And at that point, your free trial will start immediately without any input from you as far as credit cards go or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about canceling anything or any of that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and launch charts and take a look at what we were looking at. Well, the pre-market was kind of boring until the open. So we spread out the call put lines pretty far. We put our put line below 575.94, our call line above 577, even money. That comes from a resistance all the way back here early pre-market around 7 a.m. And then, of course, we had a support down here that, we needed to get through. And hopefully it would carry us down to the next support. But the open, we popped up. ADD was printing green. I was not prepared at the time to take that trade, but it did go from resistance to resistance. So we did have people, especially my futures traders out there, who took that trade and rode the lightning per se. It moved up. We did pull back, put in a higher low. This is where I took my first trade off the higher low. Now you can't tell right now, but this 933 ADD candle started out green and it was pushing up as indicated by the wick on top. Fortunately, that got me into the trade. And even though ADD turned that candle from green to red and continued to move down from there, Qs did go up and continued to go up. Now, we were hoping because we got the higher low, we were going to get through this resistance, which we did indeed get through that resistance. And then because of that, I was hoping we were going to continue up to the next resistance, which was 577.72. We were struggle busting here, and you had ADD going down. This is when we tell people, guys, put your stop losses in profits, hope that we continue up, but if we don't, you get to lock in some profits here. I put a mechanical stop in at this point. As you could see, SPY did pump up a little bit more, even though the Qs were coming down, which is good because it wasn't until we pulled back from that I got stopped out of that trade, and not a huge winner. Let me pull it up. That one, sorry, I'm still designing things. I think that one was 14.52%, if I'm not mistaken. It was 14.57%. Enough to reach my daily goal. My daily goal is $500 a day. I exceeded that a little bit, but again, didn't feel satisfying enough. And this is how things go south when you start setting limitations and goals, monetary goals and things like that for yourself. You won't stop and walk away until you've met a goal that you yourself created. And I'm all for goals, guys. But when those goals are involved in something that could take away your progress, your confidence, and all of those things, this is one of those businesses that sometimes you just need to leave good enough alone. I almost learned a hard lesson in that exact scenario today, and I'll show you what I was doing. To be exact, I made $839 and some cents on this trade. Okay, that's 5 SPX contracts, a decent sized move, but Volatility was pretty low. Contracts were relatively cheap. It just wasn't a huge winner. And then I told everybody I'd be interested in taking another trade, but it will be puts, and it won't happen until the Qs can get below the put line. And in that case, I will take the trade. And if ADD is printing red, I got into this trade right here. And off of lower highs, everything looked good. So this was great for an entry if you were ready to take puts here, for the main reason being you have a trend line. We have lower highs. We're printing red on Qs. We're at resistance on SPY. We're printing red on ADD. This is literally the setup you should be looking for. Pull back to resistance. We're hoping to get through this support because of the lower high and down to the next support, which it did. And then through that, down to even the next support. I told everybody, guys, I really am only going to consider this trade if we get below that line. I had convinced myself at this point that that's just the way it's going to go. For me, that was my trade plan. Because I felt like the Qs were going to have to work pretty hard to go from all the way up here to all the way down there. And if they did, I felt like maybe there's enough selling in the market to just carry us down to the next orange line, hopefully the pink line, were my exact words. And then lo and behold, I got in to this trade when we were poking around on our put scenario line here. I checked ADD, it was printing red. And then very quickly turned into a hold and hoper. Yep, you're right. Now, the downside to playing breakouts, which this is that we don't know if that is going to trigger a bunch of buying like it did in this case, right? So you have to understand what creates support. Support is created by buyers. The reason that line is there is because every time we've touched it, at least for today, buyers stepped up and kept it from going down farther. That's always going to be a risk of buying breakouts, guys. This is why you should be considering calls, except during an uptrend, when you're pulling back to support, because you want to join the rest of the buyers. All right. In this case, it didn't work out well for me. In fact, I got into this trade and very quickly regretted it. I turned a green day red on this pullback alone. Okay. Literally took away my $800 and some odd of profit in one candle. Now, what's that do to us on the mental side of things, on the psychological side of things? Well, now you're instantly regretting that you went in for the second trade. You went from good green. $800 is good money. It's good money. I don't care what you do for a living. It's great money. I try not to forget that. But today, I pushed the limits and almost paid for it. I say almost because, well, if this trade would have continued up against me, it would have become a catastrophic loss. Not in that, I blow up my account or anything, but it would have been very expensive. I got lucky. And I want to make that very clear. There was no skill involved in this. I took my entry because this is what I wanted to take. I felt good about my entry. However, because of the way I trade and the fact that I don't use mechanical stops right out of the gate until we get to where I think we're going to go, or if it looks like it's not going to get there. But this happened way too quick. Instantly turned me into a hold and hoper. Fortunately, we kept a lower high situation going, and then ADD started to dump. So it became a lot less uncomfortable shortly thereafter. But then we did get down to our orange line. Part of me wanted to hold a little longer, but we were only a couple minutes away from 10 o'clock. I was happy to be back green again. And in that particular trade, it ended up becoming a 19.08% win. But the point is, guys, is that I went in for one more trade. And you know what the saying is a loser is a winner who went one more time, who said just one more time. And guys, at some point, that one more time is going to cost you money. Now, that's less of a problem than that one more time costing you not only some money, but all of your confidence. Because once that is gone in this business, you are starting at the bottom of a very, very tall mountain to get back up to where you were. And it feels like an eternity to get back up there if you ever make it back there. Confidence and lack thereof in this business makes it impossible to trade successfully. You have to be confident in what you're doing, and the only way to do that is to follow your rules, which I didn't today. Followed my entry rules, but I broke the rule of you made your goal, leave it alone. One and done. And the reason I do one and done, just like everybody else can share similar stories, is if you go in for a second trade and it takes away everything that you want, you've effectively started the snowball that is chasing old profits that you already had at one time to try and get them back. And very often that just turns into bigger losses. Every trade you take after the first one will have the emotional baggage carried over into it from the trade before it. Every single one, whether the first one was a winner or the first one was a loser. You're taking the second one if the first one was a loser because it was a loser. And if you took a winning trade first, then greed is the reason you're going back in for a second one, or some mythical number that you decided needs to be your daily goal. And if you don't achieve that goal, then you're a loser. And so you're just going to keep trading. Guys, just keep track of how many times that costs you money versus how many times it makes you money. All right. So again, today, second trade, unnecessary, instantly turned me into a hold and hoper. And then I got lucky enough to get to where I hoped it was going to go, but it could have very well gone the wrong way. After that, we all kind of agreed that the chart was all over the place. Again, we had a lack of catalyst today. You had some nice moves up. Now, we did have some people take calls because we got through this resistance here, hoping to at least make it to this one, which all worked out. And again, when this was happening, you had ADD green. So there was great opportunities here, high or low, expecting to break resistance with room to the next resistance. Now, for the people that were in that trade, I made them very aware. I said, guys, if you're looking for calls and you're not already in, I would wait for a move above 577.72. I said, not only do we have a really big problem here in this red box, so if you're in calls, that was your profit target. If you're looking for calls, we need to get above that orange line. Now, it also helps that you had SPY up near a resistance here, although it did close above it. But we were aware that we struggled to move higher earlier in the day here. So for the people that were in calls, they either put in stop losses as we got it into this area, or they took their profits. Either way, it was a beautiful thing because right after that, well, we got nice big FU candles seemingly out of nowhere. And that continued on. So you had some opportunities if the chart that led up to that didn't take all of your confidence in the chart away, which that often happens. You just got to be aware of it and not force anything. But we had a couple of A+ setups. You had a situation here where you had a lower high. ADD was printing red. Qs was printing red. And we were hoping to go from here down to the next support, which was the orange line. We had people take this trade. I was not one of those people. And then after that, it kind of just got real grindy and real slow. And the market is still open, and I am not going to sit here anymore because, well, I have to take my youngest daughter to the orthodontist. But with that said, tomorrow's a new day. And hopefully, with that new day, we get some reports that allow the markets to move a little bit cleaner, a little bit more consistent, a little bit more confidence, whatever. If not, then we just got to be a little bit more careful. With that said, I hope you found some useful information in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to join my Discord community, well, as I mentioned before, I'd love to have you. The links are down below. Yeah, and buy my book. It's a good one right here. You get some free charting videos in there. I made them just for you as a book buyer. And it shows you exactly how to plot all these lines, which, by the way, work pretty damn well. Every one of these lines on these charts were drawn at 8:30 this morning, an hour before the market opens, and they're still holding pretty good. But that's it. So I hope you all had a great day. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Till tomorrow. I love you guys. See you.